this morning. Parag, great having you. Let me first start off by trying to put things into perspective. This week has been a tumultuous week for markets, if I can call it, for Indian markets. Is this an advantage for the moment to try and buy? Have you been taking advantage of this slight bit of correction we've seen this week to try and stagger buy into certain stocks that you like?
Yeah, so basically, good morning. So we try to keep minimum 5% cash in the portfolio. Although I would like to say that last 2-3 days of unwinding in small cap shares offered a great opportunity. And we have been, after a long time, I would say, after being bullish on large caps because large caps were really undervalued due to FII selling. But in last 2-3 days, what has happened in small caps, that has attracted my attention to small caps also, and we have been now buying small caps stocks also in our portfolio, and the small cap weight is on the increase because I feel that a lot of margin trading funding kind of things have got after this trade deal got delayed. I think a lot of unwinding is happening because everybody is in a fatigue. Their portfolio is not going up, and portfolio is fully loaded of mid caps and small caps. So everybody is throwing in the towel, and that is, I think, the right time to buy. And the main reason is because of government and RBI's pro-growth stance. If government and RBI would not have been so pro-growth, I mean, cutting interest rates, cut GST cuts, and various things which they are trying to do to revive growth, I would not have bought small caps. But the main reason why I'm buying small caps is because of government and RBI's pro-growth stance.
Right, interesting. Parag, hi, morning. So curious to know, what is it that one should be buying in this panic? What would you recommend from mid and small caps?
No, so basically everybody has their own view and own choices. But generally, I would like, my investment philosophy is very simple: to be in stocks where the businesses are tried and tested. The promoters we know are operating in the business from last many years, and we have seen the cycles, we have seen their capital allocation. So I would just with a disclaimer that I own 4.5% in both these names in my PMS portfolio. So if there's vested interest, and your viewers or investors should always take their informed decision by asking their financial advisors. So some two stocks which I would like to name are LG Equipment and Granules. Both we have significant percentages in our portfolio, above 4.5%. So LG Equipment, I have told you on the show earlier also, it's a superb management, best auditors, clean balance sheet, net cash of 550 crores, return on invested capital in the business is above 30%. It's a compressor business which is used in every industry. You talk of textiles, FMCG, pharma, any industry will use it. And it's a global business. 50% business is India, 50% is outside India, out of which 25% is US, and that is why stock has corrected because of the tariff. But on the earnings call, management was very confident that they have done enough amount of savings to take care of this reciprocal tariff. And if this tariff is reduced, they'll benefit to that extent. So I would like to say that this is a company which is absolutely clean, just got hurt due to this US tariffs. So this is one stock which we have around 4.9% weight in our portfolio. And the other is Granules. Again, this company was at 725. It came down to 460 just because of one problem in one of their plants, which was a big plant. But still, the plant is continuing to supply its whatever it used to supply. The new approvals are pending, but they have covered it up with their new plant in Channambali, and plus their US plant is operating very well. It's again a company with net debt to EBITDA under control of 1x, ROC above 15%, and I would say that on FY27 it is just trading at 18 times, and they have got enough fantastic, I would say, pipeline of oncology products, peptides, and very interesting opportunities. So I would just like to name two of them. And I would also like to say that one interesting trend which I'm observing in last 7-8 days is that after a huge amount of promoter selling, now at least some promoters have started buying. And so basically, for example, Greenply promoters have started buying, Maharashtra Seamless promoters have started buying. Not necessarily that I'm recommending this list, I'm just saying that I've seen promoter buying in Jindal Steel and Power. I've seen buying in Anantraj. This is a very good trend where promoters have at least started to feel that, okay, my market value is less than my intrinsic value. and so I'm buying this my shares. See, up till now, what we saw was just selling by promoters or PE funds. And these are the long-term players who know the intrinsic value of the business, and they were sellers. But now they have turned buyers. At least the green shoots are emerging, and that shows that there is a good value in small caps, selected small caps, I would say.
Very interesting. Okay, lots to unpack there, and we'll come back to you on that, Parag. But let's go across to Ishika. She's standing by with the second list of stocks in news that we have for our viewers this morning. Ishika, what do you have for us?
Yes, hi. So some of the stocks in news right now are, first of all, we have AU Small Finance Bank, right? They've received an important approval from the Ministry of Finance to increase the foreign investment limit up from 49% to 75%. And next up, we have IRB Infrastructure. They've reported a significant monthly toll collection. Toll revenue is at 716 crores versus 618 crores, up 16% year on year. We also have Interglobe Aviation, a negative development for it. It has received a notice from the DGCA directing a 10% reduction in the domestic winter schedule of 2025 across the sector. We also have GPT Infrastructure, a positive development for the stock too. It has been declared a level 1 bidder in order valued at rupees 199.17 crores from Northeastern Railways. Next up, we have NALCO, another positive development. The board has approved the contract for Putangi bauxite mines to Dilip Buildcon with base mining rate at 423 rupees per ton for the next 25 years. Last but not the least, we have Zydus Life Sciences. Another positive note, its subsidiary Zydus Life unit has partnered with Formicon to supply immunotherapy drug Keytrude, a biosimilar in US and Canada. Back to you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Ishika. And, Parag, let me come to you with regard to Indigo in particular. Opportunity to buy, you reckon? The stock has obviously rebounded from the lows yesterday and has closed in the green, in fact. Monopoly business, Nifty 50 company, do you believe that this is a good time to probably buy it in?
It might be. It's a good company for sure, and it has gone through a temporary problem, which also fits into my criteria of buying good companies during bad times. But up till now, we have not bought it because we find other opportunities more exciting. But I would say that, it might be a good opportunity. But I'm not very confident about it, so I have not bought it in my PMS.
In fact, since we're on the subject of Interglobe Aviation, just yesterday, Times Network's Navika Kumar had an exclusive chat with the Civil Aviation Minister on the state of affairs in the Indian skies with regards to Interglobe Aviation. And here's an excerpt of that exclusive chat.
In the entire process, let me make one point very clear, that we are not leaving Indigo at all.
What's the action you're going to take?
Very accountable.
I haven't seen, people haven't seen any action so far. What are you going to do?
We from the ministry have advised the regulator to cut down 10% of the operations.
That's not punishment enough.
10% of the operations in the prime routes. There are multiple things. This will act as a deterrent for them, also to encourage the competition and also to ensure the stability in operations. Second thing, we have also issued a show cause notice. We are thoroughly going into detail of the reply that has been given. Show cause notice to CEO of Indigo, CEO of Indigo. This has never been done. It has been done for the first time considering the incident. Third, we have also had a detailed inquiry which has been started. We have given them a stipulated time to work it out because we wanted to know exactly where all they have done the mistake, and not only how we have approached to this situation. Why was it that those 2 days, third, fourth, where it peaked, why was it that third and fourth, they were not even able to manage this situation?
Okay, that's the Civil Aviation Minister talking about the state of affairs at Interglobe Aviation. And Kunal, an interesting chart also, right? The way the stock actually recovered and then towards the fag end settled in about 1% higher. What's that telling you? You think a panic bottom has been made yesterday?
Yeah, I think on the short-term charts, yes, it looks like that a near-term panic bottom has been made because in the last 3 or 4 days, the volumes were on the higher side for Interglobe Aviation. Yesterday, the stock came down in the first half, and in the second half, we saw the stock going to a recovery. And I think in that sense, it looks like that 4,800 mark broadly, I think should act as a support for the stock price. And it's not as if that the stock is going to go into a V-shaped recovery. we've seen many a times that stock prices first find a bottom in terms of prices where they want to consolidate for a few days or maybe few weeks, depending on the kind of news flow or the event which has been surrounding the stock price fall. So I think in that case, I would look at 4,800 as a good base for interglobe aviation, where the volatility would settle down. The kind of pace of correction the stock has seen, that I think should narrow down significantly for the stock price, and then forms a process where the stock eventually forms a bottom and then goes into a gradual recovery phase.
And you don't think 4,800 can be tested again?
No, I think 4,800 would be tested again, but then it may not be a very sharp intensity of test like what we've seen the last 7-8 days. In the last 7 days, we've seen almost like a 1,500 point correction, 6,000 to 4,800 thereabouts, 1,200 point correction. So that intensity of correction which has happened in the last 6 days, that may not shape up for interglobe aviation.
Understood. Okay. Keynes, that's a remarkable recovery. I mean, still got lots to do before it undoes all of the damage that we've seen on Keynes. But Parag, would you think that the worst perhaps would be behind?
See, I have very clear view on EMS and this entire, I would say, quick commerce space that I am not going to buy. It is out of my circle of competence to buy companies at 65. Now, even today, I think trailing P is 65. It was above 100 P at some point. So I am not going to. I feel that these businesses can attract competition. These businesses should not deserve such high P multiples. That is my view. It is a personal view. Of course, market has different wisdom, and I respect that. So, but I would not buy that. I would not buy into Swiggy's QIP or Keynes or Dixon's of the world. That is what I have enough other things which I understand on my plate.
Okay, understood. In fact, since Parag did talk about Swiggy's mammoth 10,000 crore rupee QIP, let me take it across to Snehi and try and understand that a bit better. Snehi?
Correct, yes. So if you take a look at Swiggy's QIP, the QIP has opened on December 9. It's 10,000 crores in value, and the board has approved a price of 390.51 per equity share. This is the floor price, which is 1.8% lower than where the stock closed yesterday. The company may also offer a discount of not more than 5% on the floor price going ahead. We understand from Bloomberg that Swiggy is offer as many as 269.5 million shares at an indicative price of 371 rupees per share. So all eyes are going to be on what the finalized price for this QIP is. Just to give you some context, the Swiggy board approved fundraising of 10,000 crores via QIP along with its earnings on 7th of November. And the management in its earnings letter said that external competitive environment is dynamic and lots of new and legacy companies have been doing a lot of fundraising. And this fundraising will provide them some flexibility and growth opportunities going ahead. So if you take a look at how they have been using their cash recently, in the last 2 quarters, the reduction in cash burn has been about 50%, and 4,605 crores is the cash and cash equivalents of Swiggy as of Q2. Now the management expects another 2,400 crores from the Rapido stake sale that they expect to culminate by Q3 itself. So if you take a look at Swiggy's total cash balance after this 10,000 crore fundraising, it is going to be around 17,005 crores, which is still slightly lesser than Eternal's current cash balance at 18,314 crores, but significantly higher than where Zepto stands at 7,900 crores after its most recent fundraise of $450 million. So that's the update on Swiggy's QIP, a 10,000 crore rupee amount that has been approved by the board.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Snehi. Parag, what about some of the new age IPOs? A Meesho, how are you participating in this entire digital theme if you're staying away from companies like a Swiggy? Or do you just stay away from even the likes of a Paytm and other platform companies?
Yeah, because see, I'll tell you, one of the companies that has a little bit excited me is Lenskart. Of course, I have not yet acted and I have not yet bought in my fund PMS. But at least that company makes a profit, 100 crore PAT in this quarter, 350 crore depreciation. So a good amount of cash profit it makes. It is a need of the human being. Plus, it due to its technology, it is able to deliver fast at a reasonable, affordable price. So at least it provides some value, and there is not significant competition, I would say, and there is a lot of unorganized market to capture. This is one stock where I feel that amongst these new age businesses or this highly valued stock. One stock which has attracted my attention. I have not yet acted on it, but I would say that. I would say that amongst the recent IPOs, of course, Tata Capital, I have been very vocal about it. I am extremely positive on that company. Tata Group company growing at 30%. How can you ignore that when you are, when somebody wants to fund other companies' losses, then why Tata Capital should not be bought? That I don't understand. There, people say it is 3 times book value 1 year forward, but it's a company which is Tata Group and growing at 30%, and a business which we all understand. So I would say that definitely all this funding the losses of company through equity shareholders, that phenomena I don't understand. And just to create a war chest so that you can fight against your competitor.
Yeah, very, very interesting. But yes, that is the theme which is playing out, especially in this space. And Kunal, would you have a view on any of these? Paytm, delivery. I know you turned positive delivery yesterday after that 5% move. But talk to us about that and any other platform plays that you're liking.
I think delivery itself is a good play over here on the short-term charts, because I think, remember, I think in the month of June or May 2025, where the stock formed a bottom around the 300 odd mark, you saw very good recovery. One of the best volumes the stock had garnered in the subsequent next couple of months compared to the last many months of the price pattern where the stock was going to a downward trend, and that really called the change of trend for delivery. And from those 300-ish odd levels, the stock climbed back towards 400, 450 mark. Very recent price correction for delivery, where the stock has corrected from, I think, 450-ish levels to 400, 410 mark where it closed yesterday. That indicates that we are looking at a point where the stock has come back towards some sort of a mean reversion. So, we've been indicating that a 10% fall from the recent swing highs, depending on the beta of the stock, I think is a good enough zone where stocks tend to form a bottom for themselves, and especially with the fact that the stocks hold on to their long-term moving averages. So we've seen that quality happening for delivery. That's why I would believe that the trade setup looks far more better for the stock price. Even Paytm, I think to that extent, the stock has acted very, very differently. You don't see the stock going to that kind of a sharp sell-off what it had seen, I think, a year or two back, when the stock was prone to a very severe kind of a sell-off when the market gets into any kind of a short-term correction. But we've seen that change happening for Paytm. The stock is still holding on to that 1300-ish odd range broadly as a pivot range for Paytm. That I believe is a very good sign. So which means that we should not be looking at the stock reacting very, very in a very volatile manner, and dips like a 5% to 7% correction from the swing highs ideally should be taken as a point where traders could look to accumulate further.
Interesting. Okay, Parag, the other one which is in focus is AU Small Finance Bank. The RBI and the government have allowed and approved an increase in the FI limit from 49% to 74%. I was just going through some data today morning, and the FIs have typically held anything between 35 to 42, 43% in this counter over the last 3 years when I'm looking at the quarterly data which comes out. So FI interest in this stock has in any case been quite high. The promoter holding has been roughly 23 to 24% odd. So that is something to keep in mind. But DIIs, they've hiked their holding traditionally between 20 to 30%, is currently sitting at 32%. So we've seen an inversion. FIs have reduced holding, DIIs have enhanced holding. Now this enhanced FI headroom which is available should allow probably a weightage increase in the MSCI and some of the other passive indices for an AU Small Finance Bank, right? And what that will likely mean is passive flows coming into the stock. And the 74% also vindicates the fact that an AU Small Finance Bank from a governance standpoint looks okay and it's kosher for the RBI. At least that's the way one can read it. I know you're interested in some of the PSU banks and SBI and the like. Does AU at all feature, and do some of the small finance banks feature as part of the re-rating story that's already playing out?
So we already invested in AO Small Finance in the last correction when it was around 700. Unfortunately, we have booked profits, so we are regretting it because we continue to like this bank, mainly because One, RBI giving them universal banking license was a validation that this bank is doing a good job on the governance part also. The other thing was that most of their loan book is fixed because it is wheels loan, right? It is automobile loans. So it is a fixed rate loan book, so they benefit out of the rate cuts also. Plus, they also had a microfinance book, and that microfinance book, the asset quality which was worsening has peaked. I would say it has bottomed out, and so I would say that the numbers should look better from this quarter. That was the call we took, but it gave us a very quick 15-20%, so we booked out. But I would like to say that it continues to be a good franchise in my view, and which will typically benefit in the rate cut cycle because they have a fixed rate loan book. And of course, due to GST cut, you have seen increase in volumes of auto also, and which is 25% of the loan book. So that will also benefit. So on one hand, you have benefit from microfinance pain getting lesser, and on the other hand, you have a benefit of growing auto loans. So and you have a margin benefit also. So I think the stock is a little bit expensive, but it should do okay because of the passive flows also coming in, and there's nothing wrong in the franchise in my view.
A doubler this year, Kunal, AU Small Finance Bank, from 490 to 980. How does it look on charts now?
Yeah, it's done phenomenally well. I remember, I think on the back of news flow, the stock had fallen down to 550 or 600 start of this year somewhere. And from there on, we've seen a completely different texture for AU Small Finance Bank. At current levels also, I think, the last 1 week, 10 days, when the markets have seen so much of volatility, the stock has actually made new highs for itself consistently. So it tells you that it's in a different league altogether, and the stock is gearing up for a potentially multi-month, multi-year rally on the upside.
Okay, viewers, time to slip into a very, very quick commercial break. Stay with us here on ET Now. We'll continue to talk stocks on the other side.